Action.
Lights, camera, action.
What do you want to know?
Stan. What I want to know is, what do you think is the primary influence of Dr. John's CranioSacral Therapy?
His primary influence? I would say that, well, I don't know if it's his primary influence, but the prime influence of CranioSacral Therapy, I think, is to truly bring together this body-mind experience that probably all of us have read about for a lot of years. The integration of the imagination combined with the added dimension of feeling what happens within the body as someone processes their inner world, and the changes in the tissues and the changes in the psychology of the person, and how that is relevant in a person's daily life. I think that's the primary result of Dr. John's work. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and you've worked as a therapist for many years.
About 27 years. I've been involved with cranial work, probably 25 out of the 27. And I met Dr. John originally, or I first ran across Dr. John when he was at Unity Center. So the Upledger Institute per se did not even exist yet. He was at this place where I was actually studying with someone else, and my teacher was leaving, and I said, well, what am I going to do while you're gone? And he said, well, there's this guy here who teaches this stuff called CranioSacral Therapy, and it involves working with the cranium, and he said it's kind of weird stuff. So they had Dr. John's book on sale at Unity Center, so I bought it and got kind of hooked on it, and I've been working with it ever since. Yeah.
And what's been its primary influence on your life?
My life, wow, it's really put me in a position. I'm a teacher now, which I never thought that I would be doing. Took me out of the music world and brought me into really the healing arts, if you want to call it the healing arts, myself included, because I probably needed it more than most. So it's been one hell of an influence on my life. It's changed my whole world, my perspectives, and it showed me, in essence, the power of love. Because when you are involved in cranial work, I look at cranial work as a very, very feminine way of treating other people. It's nurturing, it's kind, it's gentle. All these feminine attributes that I guess I needed to find within myself. That's, I mean, what else can I say outside of...
Love's kind of big.
Love's kind of big, you know. And it's, again, something that we all read about, the power of love. But in the class that we just finished, you were there, and did you ever see the power of love like you saw it today in action with every person in this room, reaching out to each other and also receiving the support that they needed? Yeah, it's pretty strong stuff.
Yeah. And in terms of clients that you've treated over the years, any particular that stand out for you in what they achieved, how they changed, how they got better?
Looking back, I think the most powerful work that I've ever seen done with this, I mean, there are many, many miracles, so to speak, changes in people's lives with brain injuries, changes in people's lives with spinal injuries, but I think out of everything I've been involved with, working with the Vietnam vets several years ago is probably the most incredible experience cranially in my life, where every veteran that we worked with was like 100% disabled emotionally or physically, and to see them get back to their daily lives, and some of them are actually cranial therapists today, helping other veterans. So when you see, there was one guy in particular, if I may, who was on the top of a hill, ready with a carbine, overlooking a veterans hospital, ready to go postal, as the expression goes.
Mhm.
And he ended up with us, and he's one of the guys that is a craniotherapist today. He couldn't even go to his mailbox to get his mail. So from 2 weeks of working with his PTSD, he went from not being able to get his mail to like mowing his lawn, then mowing his neighbors' lawns, then working on their homes, to a point where he's a therapist today.
Wow. Yeah. And of all that you learnt from Dr. John, what would you say was the key message for you?
Key message?
That's really hard, I know, but...
Well, there are so many things that Dr. John came up with. If I were to talk about specific techniques, for example, the arcing technique is, I think, pretty miraculous in how, with the change of your intention, because as we all know, intention's a big word in our vocabulary, to be palpating someone's cranial rhythm, for example, and just with the change of my intention of saying, wow, I want to feel arcing, with just the change of a thought, you have a different palpatory skill, and the body will take you into a different direction. I'm amazed at the completion of biological processes. I think that that's an amazing insight. It's a big, big life changer. It's hard for me to describe it because it's so experiential. But the whole combination of where he took cranial osteopathy, which again is basically a very mechanical, scientific approach, and to bring in the somato-emotional level into his model really brought the, well, we're back to where we started, your original question, brings this whole body-mind connection to life.